Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the channel here today. Today it's time for the penultimate Penguindrum episode, the one before the ending, of course. We're going to do episodes 21 and 22 here today. Very, very excited to see what we're going to be jumping into here on this Monday night, which is a bit of a weird session for me. Hopefully it doesn't impact quality too much, because I'm not used to doing a night session, but it just kind of had to fall that way today, which... Again, it's neither here nor there. The idea is I'm going to watch both episodes and then come back tomorrow, give them a little bit of another look. I'm going to imagine they're going to be pretty heavy, let's say. So with the interest of keeping a good pace, we'll jump right here into Lazy Joe's comment, the only comment that I got from last week. Starting here, episode 20 never fails to make me emotional. And yeah, I'm with you on that. Again, it's been a long-running thing on the series with me not being able to display emotion very well, which again is kind of like part of the job here, but yeah, it got to me for sure, even if I don't always show it the way I should. Should's a weird word too. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the child broiler, specifically on this second part of the paragraph where, again, my theory last week is that it had a lot to do with class, which again is in the kind of Utena playbook, kind of permeates throughout that show. Less so here, and the point being that, hey, this same shit is happening to Tabuki. Tabuki fell through the cracks as well. If anything, like, he's a trademark example. He's an adult and he didn't, like, get better. He just kind of internalized everything and is then pushing it onto other people. Yuri, same shit, right? Like, these people aren't so lower socioeconomic is my point. Like, Yuri, despite, again, having a pretty shit childhood, she wasn't poor. Neither was Tabuki. Like, it's not always about that. It's more... again, akin to these invisible children and these people that aren't being kind of emotionally understood and rewarded for, again, the people that they are. So with that being said, it speaks to a larger thing about society overall, you would have to say, right? And again, from that perspective, it almost makes you want to agree with Kenzan, right? A drastic action is needed in order to change society. He wants to change the way things are. He sees injustice. He sees things aren't right. He doesn't see the bad side of all the sacrifices that we need to go through to get there, I guess. And I almost believe him, I really do. But ultimately, who's the other kind of presence in the show that's all about kind of bringing people up and making them feel loved and pulling them through instead of breaking everything else down around them, helping them up, right? That's what Momoko is about. Should we follow her example a little bit more with this kind of stuff rather than drastic negative action? Put it into drastic positive action, right? And I'll skip a paragraph here, I'll come back to this stuff as well, but this seems to be something near and dear to Ikuhara, right? He's been thinking about the chosen versus the unchosen for a very, very long time. Let's just do this verbatim, why not? In my student days, there was a popular book that compared the affluent to the non-affluent, and sorted everything into categories called loaded and broke. It was the bubble era, and the aim of the book was probably to get a laugh by saying, they call us wealthy, but our lifestyle's practically in the trash can. That's a very Japanese translated sentence. But for some reason, I couldn't laugh. Years later, the phrase, the winning side, was popular in the media. I thought it was horrid. And sure enough, people started using the opposite phrase, the losing side, as a masochistic joke. I still couldn't laugh though. One day, a girl I saw on TV said, there are only two types of people in this world, the ones that are chosen and the ones who aren't chosen. That gave me a start. To not be chosen is to die, said the girl. I decided to try my hand at that, the Black Rose arc. This is more specifically for Utena because again, these themes, if you've seen that show, go so very much into that stuff as well, especially Black Rose. Think about the Wakaba stuff there. Dude. Holy shit. This guy's a madman. So to me, it seems like Ikuhara has thought about the world a lot and society a lot. And again, what's the best way out of this thing that we call life, right? Is it through purely negative emotions and channeling those, or is it through mostly positive emotions, right? Shall we choose to save people in need or break the system down around them to help them, right? Again, if you've seen Utena, it's like a you're kind of threading that needle a little bit, I think. That's kind of what I think Ikuhara's philosophy is. Again, you can't just go full Kenzan on him. You can't just go full terrorism. Like, that's no good. And again, I want to get to, especially after next week, I want to get to like big picture stuff about what this show is trying to endorse and what it is trying to say. Again, that is a goal for me personally, because again, I'm getting a lot out of it. I think it's a very good show, so why not try to actually understand it and put something down in words? We'll see, time permitting. Finally here, invisible people as a term, maybe a possible reference to the 97 Kobe child murders. So again, the teenager responsible for the murders used that specific term to blame the education system for his woes, potentially going for a drastic solution when, again, this is a kid falling through the cracks, you know, becoming an invisible person, going through his own personal child broiler. He needs a momoko, right? Rather than, again, reinforcing that dark stuff that he was obviously feeling, we need somebody to save him, you know? Wouldn't that be way nicer? It's ultimately such a positive message, I think. Again, I like to feel positive, I do. In that way, Penguindrum as a show overall can be read as an indictment of Japanese society on the, you know, by Yukuhara, right? He's lived there, obviously. He's seen it every day. He's trying to get to the bottom of it all, I guess. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Anyway, we'll leave that there for now. And yeah, let's shout out those patrons before anything else. This is basically the last time I can show the Patreon for Penguindrum, so if you're really itching to see the finale, it's up there on Patreon right now if you're watching this publicly. $6 a month, you can get that video 1 week early. And again, that'll carry through for the rest of the month, obviously, so you get the poll stuff for whatever replaces Penguindrum, as well as everything else on the channel, of course. Many people have had access to this deal, of course, such as Mickey Babbers, Charles++, Bananarama Dama-sama, Bobbin, Chubby Rippy, Dapper Dwarf, Domobot, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Ferdinand Hernando, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Fusel, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Gus N, Hans Peter, Ika, Inzuchi, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R, Joran, Kasogtha, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Lick H, Lou, Marsh, Master Detective, Mistake L. Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Nico Lane, Parnick, Pencil Shop 333, Ragashingo, Runlad BNK, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Warp V, Without a Net, Yuan Kai Shu, Yuki Ali, Zach, Akomancer, Binshi, Voodoo Chili, Funny Fat Guy, and Ice. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money. Let's set us up here. Penguindrum, what has been going on? So episode 20 last week was an episode of reveals, right? There was all the Himari, or that was kind of the previous episode as well, the Himari soulmate stuff, right? Shorma being that special person that's kind of fated to her. Again, based on the app, or based on kind of Shorma choosing her to like join the family per se, essentially adopting her, pulling her out of the child broiler, but in that process also cursing her with the Takakura name. It's a pretty complex kind of set of emotions there, of course. Again, like, I saved you and bad things happened. Does that mean I shouldn't have saved you? Probably not, but doesn't make it feel any better. We also got pretty solid confirmation there that Kamba is not related to Shorma. Again, so none of these siblings are related to each other, these siblings, which is very funny. Instead, it seems that Kamba is Natsume's brother, older brother. And again, probably largely associating with his father, who was also associated with the cult. Well, anyway, it's weird. Kiga group, I believe, is what we're calling them now. Of course, Kenzan and his wife, I forget her name, the mother, they're still alive, which is weird, and still at large. They're out, and they were just in like a ramen shop. That was weird. Sanatoshi is still broadly menacing, so we need to address that, obviously. Natsume probably has some pretty solid ground to stand on, whereby we're saying that we stole Kamba. Is that going to be addressed some more? Clearly, there's more content there. Pretty fun to see how this kind of whole Natsume family stuff is going to impact everything else. Seems to be a pretty big gap there between Kamba in the flashback and Kamba now. So what gives? What happened there? I'm imagining we're going to get into most of that stuff as we start here. And start we shall. Let's jump into episode 21 of Mawaru Penguindrum. Like the video, subscribe, Patreon, Discord, Let's get into this thing. Why not? Hello, I am made of white, which means we're about to pop onto the train, I guess, which is cool. 23 minutes and 40 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. I'm using the DB file set, so get that copy if you want that copy. If not, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below for your viewing pleasure. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1. Go. Indeed. Oh, everyone's like here? Yeah? Who the fuck are you? Whoa. Make-believe siblings. Again, the thing I'm noting there, and again, this has been the case the entire show, I think. Like, lots of people in that train car, and they've all got character designs. But when they're out of the train car, they don't. So again, that's just being consistent. I thought we were doing something weird there. Now, this thing with the journalist is very specific, too. I seem to remember, again, in the wake of the train stuff, the sarin incident in Japan, there was a lot of sensationalism, a lot of that kind of stuff, and not any focus on the victims behind any of it, right? No focus on the human loss instead of just the, raw numbers and everything that comes along with tragedy. Maybe we're trying to reference that here. That would be my thought into introducing the media into this, I guess, or being broadly critical. It also talks to Ringo's level of closeness, you would say. Like, she's seen the show. We've seen the show too. We feel an attachment to these characters because of the events. It would, yeah. I wonder if she would have reacted the same at the start of the show. Probably not. Yeah. Sure. Briefly mentioned something about it. It was a whole episode, actually. Kick his ass. Kill him. Yeah, his watch had a penguin on it, too. I like this penguin, actually, I think. Mika-chan? Okay. Is this a thing, or are they just making up some stuff? Like a dollhouse. Because we're, like, playing pretend? A little bit. Wait, they painted the walls? Now the house makes so much sense. Of course, it doesn't feel like it feels like a mismatch, like a mishmash of stuff, right? Because it is like they're not like a real family per se, right? Color design's really cool here. There we go. Look at all those Utena colors coming together. So again, the painting of the house here is like a microcosm of what they did for her, right? Oh, so they set up your room like that too. The cherub? Oh, so now we need to patch him up. Kuma. Yeah, you could read into that a little bit too. They're just sleeping, as you do. Mushroom lamp, finally. You got anything for me, Himari? Anything at all? Not right this second, but you did in the past. What did Tabuki say? Okay, so we didn't just drop that. Fair enough. Oh, there goes Kampa. He's living a double life. Ooh, Monogatari vibes. Mostly just because there's a street sign. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So here's my thing. Do you know about the parents? That was another question, right? Stop talking to this weird man. Yep. Ooh, interesting way to frame it. So, like, this, like, terrorist group money is, like, saving you right now. This episode's been depressing thus far. I love beer. Okay, a little bit less depressing. That's good. I mean, yeah, you're right. Tell me more about that day, please. There's your money. Yeah, so we, the audience, don't even know what he does, like, now. So he gets his payment up front, and then what does he do? Whoa, 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 what? Huh. Well, they tricked me, didn't they? So my read right now is that the parents actually aren't alive. And we've been seeing... What are we seeing right now, though? What? There's a radio show? This is just where Kamba and that guy were meeting. That's all I wanted to say. Wait, you're doing a radio show? Podcast? About ghosts? With the old doctor? Well, the ghosts are funny, right? Based on what we just saw, too. Like a medium. Interesting. So it's fun that the show's, like, confirming this. Why was he away in Germany? Who cares? What about it? What? Hidden image? What? What? You're a ghost? There's so much happening. What do you mean? Okay. I'm gonna do another terrorism, even harder. Yeah, right. That was a lot. Again, I was waiting for them to be something like hiding in plain sight. No, they just like doctored the photo. That's funny. Fuck off. Okay. Yeah, what was Himari shocked about? Remnants? Oh, Kiga group. Yes, in general. Oh, great shot. My boys are fighting. No. So this scene's been a long time coming. I don't like your chances, buddy. Kampa strikes me as somebody that's pretty good fighter. He just does. Okay, another flashback. What? What is happening? At Natsume's house? Huh. True biological siblings. Well, that's not my fault. He still has free will. Yeah, correct. Okay. We're teaming up. The bandage kind of going there too. He's gonna go off the grid or something? Huh. Well, you're very different. But that's never stopped siblings being siblings. Come on, penguin boy, let's go. Play game. I'm trying. What? Whoa, 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 what? What are we doing? Yeah, the truck, huh? Yo! Yeah, we're doing bad stuff. It was just an accident. Oh, that's the journalist? Yeah. I mean, I didn't like him. But you probably shouldn't, like, murder him. Is that Tabuki? Oh. Is he about to get, like, shot in the back of the head with a 9mm pistol? Oh. 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 I never thought it would be that. What is happening? Okay, I like this. No! 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 You sound very Australian there. No. No, but seriously, that's fucking bad. If what I thought happened, happened. That's cute. Okay. The coat's very funny. Oh, the scarf. The scarf back. Yo. Okay, bye. Back to being strangers is crazy. Been in? I'm aware. Well, does Kanba know this? Or have you just not been telling him that? Mm-hmm. What else you got for me? Just the house being very different now. Like it's lost an element of it. Those kind of colors, those muted colors back again. She's in Silent Hill. Super Frog saves Tokyo. Oh. What the fuck? What's the audio? Yo, this is so sick. What does that mean? Huh. So you, like, went... What is this song? You went to him to, like, watch him. So you're, like, keeping involved, basically. So that was a lot. I think this show might be really good. Unfortunately. We kind of never did bring up the idol stuff again. That's very funny. Anyway. The Kenzan stuff's insane. Reminds me of a lot of things. I feel like that's almost a trope. That, like, we've been seeing the show through a weird perspective and a character's already long dead. Like, I feel like I've seen that a lot. What else happened? Yeah, speaks to a level of delusion for Kanba. That kind of clashing scene between him and Shoma, long time coming for sure. I wonder what Natsume's role in any of this is going to be. And oh my god, I think Yuri's dead? Why? I liked her. I like them all, actually. I don't want anybody to die. Maybe at the end of this video I should do like a what do I... Oh shit, sorry about that. Maybe I should do like a who's gonna die, who's not gonna die type shit. That could be fun. Like lock in some solid predictions. Oh, hello. Father's funeral. So did we know this? Okay. You can't fail in family. Well, I mean... Oh, that's cute too. Oh, look at it light up. How cute. Well, I know, it's of course. That explains everything. Like why Natsume and Mario were with the grandfather. Like that now makes sense. You know? Because you can't just claim guardianship for no reason. Holy, that was a lot. Okay. Diving in here with episode 22. Why not? Let's go. Episode 22. Up there, ready to go. If I can speak. Jesus. 23 minutes and 41 seconds on that one. Picture-in-picture. DB file set. Let's jump in here. Radio. 3, 2, 1. Go. Okay. We're back on the train. Akasaka Mitsuke? What am I looking at? Oh, the two idols in disguise? Coming to see you? Coming to see you? Yo. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, the animation's great. Oh, Star Penguin. Well, that's gonna shatter me. It was just as I was saying that they didn't really do anything with the idols. That's funny. Double H, of course. Okay. I thought we'd jump straight into some Kanba shit. I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah, but what of Yuri? Is she alive? Even that cut in the opening from like Yuri swinging her leg into like Momoko, like her leg out and Tabuki kissing it, it's almost like Tabuki's devotion to Yuri and his love there is a extension of that love for Momoko, right? That he used to have. They're in a relationship together insofar as it's to benefit her and to remember her, you know? Tell you what, we haven't done a survival strategy sequence in like ages. Wow. I know who they are. Are you a fan? It's true, I saw a flashback episode about it. Indeed. And so that's fun too, because that's an extension of the Shauma stuff. Like making a scarf for somebody and helping them feel warm. Oh. Sure. Have more of my music. You're insane. That same scarf again, right? Yes, Ringo? A lot of scarves. What, on Kanba? Oh, no, she never showed up at the uncle's place. Yeah, fair enough. Well, I mean, I at least know that she's just hanging out with Kanba. Okay, D-Day is finally here? What? Wait, we're shipping teddies? Okay, my brain is firing on all synapses? So does he double down here? Yeah, very similar to the start of the show, right? Fair reaction, valid crash out, I would say. Oh, you can't kill a ghost. Yeah, fair enough. There's just ghosts in the show too, which is very funny. Ew. Don't call me a good boy ever, please. Sure. Okay, you must do the biggest terrorism of all time if you want to save your sister. Mm-hmm. That's nice. This angle is really good too. I don't think he's gonna listen. He doesn't even want to goon anymore. What's wrong with him? Do I? I don't. Maybe you guys do. What would that be? Okay, I guess she doesn't remember then. Oh, this song. I love this song. It's probably not great. Okay, bye. Well, the other penguin, he's turned over a new leaf. Cold turkey. He's off it. Huh. It's like a prison. Yeah, they've really elevated on the kind of background design type stuff, I think. Okay, we're in the aquarium? Or are you going to the Library of Doom again? We must remember the Momika connection to you as well, with the headdress and that whole element of the plot. Are you going for a swim? I would advise against it. Okay. Will this work? Maybe? Hold up. I mean, obviously I don't want Himaru to die. Oh yeah, we've seen that before, like the penguin going see-through. Okay. So did that fix anything, or? Wait, Tabuki? Tabuki? Tabuki. I didn't think it'd be Tabuki. Now this is significant as well. I'm laughing and crying. What is happening? Yeah, okay, sure, fine. Whatever you say. Show's batshit insane. Well, yeah. Okay. I wonder how Ringo's processing that news. Oh. This is like spy movie shit. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, fucking cool too. I like his ringtone. Cute. I'm gaming? Shut up, I'm gaming? This isn't a game, dude. You just killed people. He thinks he's the Joker. Natsumi, stop him? What an odd scene. Oh, that's a... So many good shots, these two episodes. What are you doing? Bro blew up the PS5. Natsume, run! How the fuck are they gonna get out of this? Oh, this statue too. I'm still at large. I'm escaping through the sewers. I know. I'm your little sister. Yeah. Talk to me more about that. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true though. Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? He is not listening to reason. This soundtrack too. Hmm. Oh, they found us. I don't know how the fuck you're gonna win, bro. I think you're done. I think you're cooked. I think. Just keep murdering. Very notably, a descent here as well. Pretty obvious one, but, you know. Smart all the same. Yep, they're definitely dead as shit. You killed them. I felt like he was listening there for a second, but seems like he didn't. Yeah, he's too far gone. At this point, I would be very surprised if he survives the rest of the show. The rest of the episode? The rest of the scene? Child broiler? Oh shit. Even now. He saved you? What? Okay, so yeah, he sacrificed for you back then. What is happening now? So yeah, he kind of sacrificed himself for you, but to what end? Okay, the gang pulled up. Sure. Okay, he just took some damage. He's not... Ooh, it's not good though. Because that was like her child broil or whatever, right? Like in the visual storytelling. In for a penny, in for a pound. That was really emotional. Like the touching of the one there. Whoa. Damn. What a choice. Yeah. This is certainly is a choice. So now you're sacrificing yourself in turn. Okay. I'm following you on this. Why is she cool? I don't like it, but she's cool. No, not me. It's a bit sad. Okay, there was a lot there. I have my work cut out for me tomorrow. It's kind of going everywhere. I still think we're on the rails, but we're like teetering. I need some Momika in my life, please. So I'm gonna need that pretty quick here in the show. I like the Tabuki stuff. That was crazy. I guess I gotta re-look at Natsume's kind of motivations there. I guess it's the realization of the sacrifice that he made in the past for her that makes her feel indebted one last time. And again, she's conscious that she's making the wrong decision here. Wrong decision. You know, it's complicated. She refers to it as a curse. Like, she's aware there. Also, we didn't get the CD to Himari yet, so that's kind of still hanging. Insane show, though. Holy shit. It's going crazy. And another post-credit. Oh my god. Shawma's inside the box? Oh yeah, they're also delivering toys that are going to blow up or something? "10 years ago, he was in, like, a dog cage." What? What do you mean? Sure. Oh. Very cool. Whatever you say. Again, as I said, have my work cut out for me. So yeah, analysis coming right up on those 2 episodes. And we're back. I think I'm just going to jump straight into the content here because I've got a lot to get through. And let's face it, not a lot of time to do it. So let's begin. Let's start with the media guy, the private eye, whatever this guy is, I guess. Okay, no, even before that, we must do today's slogan. Money and parents, don't think they'll last forever. That's fucked up, especially the parents part. Jesus. Money. Yeah, money, you can tie it into the kind of Kamba stuff, right? Kamba came from money, and then he didn't, so it's another element to it. Definitely, again, focusing on Kamba here with this particular slogan. Either way, we have the reporter guy. He's from Weekly Truth, Penguin, and his last name is something Shunato. Shuntaro. There we go. Oh my god. So something that I haven't given a lot of attention yet either is the difference in the Penguin logos, right? So we have Kiga Group that is different to the logo to what they used to be with the Rockhopper Penguin, right? From way back in the day. It was kind of on that kind of photo that he keeps in his office. And then there's this one, which is Pingu Corp, right? And there probably is something to be said about one being kind of a lighter tone of face, the other one being kind of half and half, and the other one being fully, like, darkened. I don't know the best way to say it. You know what I mean. Yeah, I think it's interesting that you're coming at the perspective from the media of the one that's associated the most with the status quo. Like, for me, this represents money, and this represents where the money is already going, right? And the general tone of Western capitalist society. Right? It's very funny that we're associating the media very much with that, right? That they're in the pocket so most. Again, instead of focusing on the story behind the people who want to incite this change, let's gawk at them. Let's make tabloids about the children and their stories and all that other kind of stuff. Again, this is a very, very specific detail that I kind of really want to hone in on. I think it really is trying to say something. Even this kind of looks like the Rolex logo as well, you know. I feel like there may even be more with this character that is currently going over my head, but again, got to keep a move on here. Ringo. I think Ringo at the very start of the show wouldn't have cared as much about this as she has. Over the course of the show that she's come to learn about it and like at least some portion of the Takakura family. Like, we know that she's like head over heels for Shoma and at least likes Himari's company. I think she respects Kamba in a lot of ways. So again, you know the people personally behind this. You know what this kind of reporting would do to those people if the truth got out. That truth that they don't want to get out, if that got out, that would be bad. So again, you don't want to help this guy at all. You're staunchly against him. However, in the episode, right, this is another great dichotomy. There's a difference between being staunchly against him and giving him nothing and telling him off and all that other kind of stuff, and murdering him. There's a difference, right? And again, Kanba's falling on the other side of that difference in a way that probably isn't fantastic. After the opening, we meet up with Himari, and Ringo is confronting her about the learnings that she made in episode 20, about, who Himari really is, I guess. Random side tangent, but I really love Himari's penguin. I just think that she's very adorable, and that the things that she does are adorable. And again, my view into these characters and their penguins has been well kind of telegraphed, well broadcast. This just tells me that Himari deep down is a bit of a sweetie, and I like that. From here, we go into one of the major conceits and themes of the episode, and that is a sense of place, and place equaling belonging, right? Here we're associating the Takakura household with a Mika house, right? To me, this seems like some kind of brand of dollhouse, right? Different outfits, kind of the curtains set up, that kind of thing, right? It attaches itself nicely to Himari's bedroom later on, I will say, but again, that's the general conceit. Like, we're building our own house and we're the dolls and we're moving around it, and then we can do whatever we want with it because it's our place. And again, it's a pretty obvious one. The place where the characters grow up is a reflection of them as characters, right? Specifically here, this house is a reflection of their family unit, right? So disparate, all these different parts kind of mishmashing together, because again, they're not siblings. They're not. They're trying hard to be, but it's an element of make-believe to it. Like we're playing with dolls in a dollhouse, like, it's not real, but does that make it any less powerful, is my point. And again, I've talked a lot in the show about how much I do love the house, and I love how it's designed, and I love the colors and all of it, right? It now makes perfect sense. Again, these three very different people coming together, and that being told visually through the setting. I think that's just amazing. I also think the Mika house thing does a great job of demonstrating the innocence of Himari as a character, which again gets obviously juxtaposed when she goes all survival strategy mode. Very funny. But all she ever wanted was just like a dollhouse. And again, isn't that just like, all I ever wanted was to be just like a normal child, was to be like a normal girl growing up. I wanted to have a dollhouse like my friends had a dollhouse. There's a sense of belonging to that too. And again, it's so very beautiful that the brothers go out of their way to make this happen. Again, in the wake of their parents leaving. Like, it's this step that they did for her that made her feel like she belonged once again, right? The parents were obviously integral of bringing her in, right? Shoma as well, obviously, but like, they're still the guardians. They're still going to say yes or no if you're going to join the family. So with them gone, it's going to throw that into jeopardy, this thing that we found. So it's really nice that, again, the two brothers kind of step up here. And again, as I keep saying, the two brothers kind of being both parents in that regard too. And they're doing some really nice stuff with the lighting here and the color work. So again, like, pretty grayscale, pretty nothing at the moment. But again, here come the boys with that kind of splash of color. All their Mutana colors going crazy. Again, helping her to feel like she belongs, Yeah, this story here is actually sneaky deep. So again, they continue to set up her bedroom just like Mika's bedroom or whatever. It has the curtains up and all that kind of accoutrement, all the extra stuff, right? So it's some nice, like, this is like the first shot of the show, so it's nice that the brothers are like responsible for that. That's pretty cool. They step on this plush, right? So in the process of trying to help Himari and to make things better for Himari, they end up hurting something. And there has to be kind of like a sacrifice involved here, right? There has to be, somebody has to go through something in order to get what we want. In this way, it kind of feels like, how we're framing Himari's sickness as this kind of punishment for the Takakuras being the way they are and the parents doing what they did. This is kind of like the parents doing what they did, and this is the punishment for the plush doll. Like, I'm seeing something like that in this. This also explains why the kind of plush doll has been, like, pyrotized the whole time, too. I don't know what to make of it, but I think the stitches in the kind of womb of the teddy bear is very interesting, too. Maybe you could make some inferences there. Specifically that line, her stomach is proof that we're together as a family, right? It's this kind of repair job that they did, again, because they were doing it. It'll always remind me of that day when they did something really nice for me, right? So again, associating like a scar, like on the womb, with like the day that we became a family. Like there's something there, I think, for sure. Night falls and Himari can't sleep. She checks on both of her brothers. They're in bed at the moment, all safe and sound, all good. But Himari can't help but think of that line from Tabuki a couple of episodes ago now, when he was being a Bond villain, about Kanba's secret, how he's been funding her kind of cure, I guess, her medicine and all that kind of stuff. Very literally, it's keeping her awake at night, causing her to check on Kanba once again. And lo and behold, he's gone. Oh no. Now, I joked in the reaction, right, that whenever I see a street sign, it's a Monogatari reference, but we can use the same kind of meaning in Monogatari as we're using here, right? This sign is telling us caution. This sign is telling us to go this way, but slow down, stay behind, all that kind of stuff. We're also very notably placed at a crossroads, right? Himari is making a choice here that will forever impact the relationship between her and her brother, right? So, like, what are we going to do? And again, the street signs here are very important in that regard in getting that idea across. It's hard to call it an inspiration considering the two came out at around the same time relatively, but you never know. People watch things. Bakemonogatari was 2009, so potentially. A flashback as Himari is tailing Kanba, of course. We have the journalist guy, he just came straight up to their door and, told Himari some stuff, right? Another very notable thing here is that the journalist is entirely faceless, so I don't know what we're trying to say there. Like, you're not like the actual person involved here, you're just kind of like the concept of reporting on this kind of stuff and kind of like tabloids and, like, what's the word? Where people kind of just like love to watch a car crash. They love to like ogle, right? You're just feeding the oglers, I guess, right? Without ever actually having to put your personality or anything else like that on the line, I guess. Either way, his kind of role in the episode, until he fucking dies, is to reveal information to characters. Here he basically just told Himari that, hey, your brother's doing shady shit with Kiga Group to get you money to keep you alive. In other words, their money is paying for your life. How does that make you feel? Of course, now she wants to investigate. This whole kind of portion of the show gets me really, really emotional. I don't know why. It's like quite sad. Again, very explicitly here with this kind of ramen shop, explicit focus on place, right? Like establishing shot and then zoom around the room. We're going to see what's going on. Again, because we're going to subvert this later when we find out what's really going on, right? I also think that this retroactively makes a scene from, I think it was the last episode, or maybe the episode before, quite powerful, right? Like, there's this... When we first learned that Kenzan and Kanba's mother, that they're alive, right? Alive. There's like this really lovely music playing. It's like this really inviting setting. And then the music cuts and the reality of the situation starts to set in. That's now like the similar thing is happening here, right? Whenever he kind of just like sits and hangs out in this shop. And again, his father's corpse is like literally there. I keep saying his father, you know what I mean. Kenzan's corpse is literally there. He's like delusional into thinking that everything's going to be okay at some point, while he's just like waiting around to get on with the rest of the job. But it looks so inviting. And again, we're framing it later on as a curse. And I'm not quite sure if I'm making any sense. But I think it's quite powerful. I really do. Just like this place that you're sitting all alone and you think the dad's there and you think the mum's there and you think that everything's going to be okay just for like one moment. But it's not. It's not okay. Shit sucks. I need to keep doing this to save my family. Yeah, I really, really like this. It's really good. Like, just all these conversations now are so fascinating. Like, this is all internal for Kamba. This is a portion of Kamba's personality, possession or not, that is driving him to do these things. Like, you need to care for your family. You need to care for Shorma, Himari, and yourself. I'm still proud of the decision I made on the day I welcomed you as my son. Like, my parents will be proud of me if I do this, and maybe I can wish them back into existence as well. And we really kind of hold on this reveal for quite a long time. We know that Himari walks in here, and we see that the place isn't what it all cracked up to be, right? Because, again, we're out of his delusion. We're now back into reality. And again, this is what I was talking about with the contrasting shots, right? So, like, that shot that was clean and, you know, bright before, now it's not. The poster on the wall ripped apart, the, you know, clock frozen in time, frozen world even. Crazy. But yeah, we don't reveal this yet. Himari sees something in the corner and the audience is unaware, but it really shakes her. And then we go straight from that into the radio show. But that's another can of worms. Again, I just think this whole sequence is fantastic. It's just so good. Anyway, now the radio show. We're going to have Sanetoshi, and he's going to expose us, do some exposition about a lot of stuff, right? And he's kind of bouncing ideas off of the doctor that was in the show very early as well. So my question is, why radio show? Is this like an extension of the general media thing that we're trying to do with this episode? Like, this episode is like the one where a lot of things get revealed, and that's almost down to its very like nature as an episode, right? Like, if we're going to frame it around the media and a reporter exposing things, then it's only natural that the characters expose a lot of things that are going on around them as well. That's a very smart little thing that they're doing too. Very, very cool. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how else to put it into words, but yeah, yeah, for sure. That's definitely something that we're doing. Like, this is what I mean when this show's just like insane. Like, we've just had scene after scene after scene in this episode of batshit crazy reveals, and we're not even like half done. We still have to do all the ghost stuff. So Sanetoshi is a ghost, and Momoka's also a ghost. Do you know what I mean? Like, what else is Momoka's presence in the show as like controlling Himari or whatever, right? As the headdress, if not possession, if not like something overtly supernatural. Sanetoshi, same thing, right? He is a figment. He is not real. Like, that's an insane reveal. And again, like, the framing of the radio show to do this is very, very smart. So apparently the doctor had been away in Germany, and Sanetoshi kind of stole his office. That's why he's kind of moved in, and why the doctor kind of disappeared from the show. I think if you go back to the scene where Sanetoshi first, like, kind of takes root in this place, you can kind of see him moving in on where the doctor was, I guess, right? Like, doctor moves out and then he moves in is my point, I guess. Either way, we then do this photograph part, which is insane. No, don't look there. Don't look there at the photograph. Don't look at the penguins either. Look up there. There's actually Sanetoshi in the photo the entire time. So, okay, this is a huge can of worms, right? So Sanetoshi passed away, but he did exist at some point and was associated with Penguin something, whatever this first like rock hopper penguin organization was, right? Penguin Force, something like that. The first organization that we ended up making. And again, that makes sense for why Kenzan was involved as well, because that's how Kenzan and Sanetoshi would have met, right? I was waiting for this to be like a hidden in plain sight type thing as well. No, we just withheld that information. Fuck you, the audience. You just don't get to know. So now that we get confirmation that Sanetoshi did indeed exist here at some point, it's clear to see that he was one of the major masterminds behind this whole cult idea, right? Are we going to get like a Sanetoshi backstory? Are we going to get some justification for why he thinks the things that he thinks, right? Because he imparted this like knowledge and these ideas onto Kenzan, and then that kind of snowballed into this whole thing, right? Why does he think the things that he thinks? It's kind of an important question. And what's the library in that regard? Kind of from episode 9. Remember all that stuff? That stuff's kind of crazy. The other thing here as well is that you were the assistant of this doctor guy. So you were like a doctor, I guess? So you do know some stuff about medicine. I don't know, weird kind of tangent aside. It's just odd. And yeah, here he just straight up says that he's a ghost, and if ghosts are too unscientific, then I'm a curse, and this curse has been put on everybody around him, right? Curse is a fun kind of extension off of fate as a kind of major idea for the show as well. And that curse being so very much associated with family. So that's what I mean when, like, Himari would have just been Himari if we didn't introduce her into this family like this, right? Kamba would have just been Kamba if he didn't join up the family when he did as well, right? Like, because we got brought together here at this time, we now are possessed by this curse. Does that make any sense? Like, and that's very much fate-pilled. That's very much that fate idea again coming through. And again, that's why Shoma was so upset kind of last episode, right? I feel so very responsible directly for giving Himari a curse. Yo, what the fuck? And then, okay, there's a lot going on here. It turns out that we're in the doctor's office eating like a hot pot. There's a puffer fish on it, and then there's also some fugu over here for people to eat. Like, this is just all the major meals from the rest of the show that we're just, like, having in the office now. Again, basically Sanetoshi saying that I'm behind it all. I am everything. I feel like that's what this is trying to say. Yeah, always focusing in on this watch, too. Because now it's this reporter guy, and he's kind of calling Shoma over after school, and just gets him to explain some things. We don't get to see the scene, but it's heavily implied that the reporter guy, told Shoma that Kamba's been doing shady stuff on the side to get the money to save Himari, right? Now, again, this confrontation has been coming in the show from a long way out. I'm actually surprised it took this long to get here. We see the penguins in the background, very obviously like facing off against each other as well, right? It's pretty clear from this to see where their emotions are actually lying. They're trying to keep it cool here, but this is what they're really thinking. Eye to eye, ready to fight. Another very fun note about the setting here in this episode. Why do we go to a shrine here at this time? Are we trying to, like, exorcise the curse or something? That could be an idea. Praying for better, whatever better means for you and you. That could be an idea too. It's just weird that we kind of walk from that bench over to a shrine to have this conversation. Another fantastic shot here talking to this crossroads idea, right? Kind of like the opening, the characters moving in different directions, almost away from each other, but just diverging off that same path. This is that same thing. Now we're almost at a complete 90-degree angle, right? Where, like, I'm ready to go this direction and you're ready to go this one. Yeah, and Kamba's being a little bitch here, right? He's like, what else was I supposed to do? This is how we're getting the money. If you don't like it, then don't get involved. Well, that's throwing away years and years of being brothers, of being like family. Family doesn't mean you go out and do everything on your own and don't let anybody else in on what you're doing. And again, no matter what you wanted to do, I'm sure that Shoma would have helped you if you asked, right? Like, they're brothers, you know? I think a lot of the disappointment here is him going out on his own and feeling like he can't rely on his brother, you know? Again, outside of the obvious, which is that we're kind of ethically opposed to each other. You think very much like my father. I hate what my father thought. All that kind of stuff. And yeah, from here, it's kind of like straight into fighting. That's a very funny shot too. Which kind of leaves Himari all alone. Like, dinner's like getting cold and like nobody's here to have dinner with her. Like, because of the media and them getting involved and planning these ideas and all this other kind of stuff, they can't share this family meal that's been coded as so very important in the show. Kind of inadvertently making Himari feel like she's all alone and without a family once again. The boy's kind of missing the forest for the trees in that regard. If you care so much about Himari, why are you two fighting each other at the same point when she needs your emotional support? A flashback to what I'm guessing is earlier that day. We have Himari now meeting up with Natsume, by which Natsume reveals everything. Kamba and I are true biological siblings. Very much emphasis on that word true as opposed to fake. I think that's, yeah, again, kind of bouncing off what you were doing a couple of episodes ago when you kind of stormed the Takakura residence. And I do love watching the penguins, just these two, just hanging out, having the same conversation. It's a really fun layer to the show, and I love bringing it up every time it's on screen. Here Natsume says that Kamba abandoned everything he had and stayed by my father's side out of concern for me and Mario. So again, he self-sacrificed so that we could live this life and get out of there and all that other kind of stuff, whilst Kamba stayed behind in the wake of the father's death. Again, kind of taking on that blame and keeping associated with kind of Kenzan and that whole crew and Kiga group. It calls into question that scene. Remember when they saved Himari very early in the show, kind of from the storm, took her into the hospital? That's a very interesting scene now that we know that Kenzan and Kamba aren't related, right? It's almost like this like fatherly moment for him, like even though that's not his father, even though it's not like they're not biologically related. And again, kind of in the wake of his own father's death too. Like that's so very cool now. Yeah, and in keeping with the rest of the tone of the episode, this is where everything is revealed, right? I feel this way because of XYZ. That's basically what Natsume is saying here, right? Because of you and your family and what you've done and your illness specifically, Kamba has now involved himself with the remnants of the dangerous organization from 16 years ago, right? Because you're there, I may never see my brother again and get to know him like I knew him before again, right? And again, so much of the show is coming into sharp focus in retrospect. Remember all that love that Natsume tried to give Kamba, that Kamba apparently just brushed aside? Like, that was completely, like, legitimate, right? It was just, like, familial gifts and stuff. But again, like, he had moved on to his new thing by then. You know, he, like, his new family. Like, he didn't want that from you anymore. Like, that's so very sad now. Either way, it seems like these two are on the same page. We have to stop Kamba. They will kill Kamba if he keeps going down this path. If there's one thing that we want, it's Kamba alive. The both of us, right? So let's kind of unite on that fact. This episode is just edited and put together really, really well. I love, like, kind of cutting from here, like this scene, Kanchan. We see the brothers fighting. That background looks very cool too. And then, like, cut to the photo book stuff too. The music's carrying too, right? All these good memories that we've had in the past, what went so wrong? Like, all that other kind of stuff. And again, that kind of Shauma line coming through. Like, all we ever wanted was just to live as a family. Why is everybody trying so very hard to stop us from being allowed to do that? Everything, it seems like everything is against us. Even more, like, I love this cutaway to, like, the kind of names on the wall here. And their heights and stuff. Again, gives them a tangible connection to growing up in this house. Like, that's fantastic. Even here, a little picture of Himari and Double H. Love that. So yeah, Kamba kind of beats the fuck out of his brother. Very cool. He loses the bandage in the process of the fight too. Kind of that symbol of the sacrifice that he made for Himari. He's happy enough to reopen that wound once again to not protect it anymore. He's basically gone off the deep end. He's going to do everything and anything to save her. Up to and including beating up his own brother. And yeah, to make this falling out hit as hard as possible, we then have the basically Kamba renouncing Shauma as his brother type thing. Don't be silly. We never really had a connection. It was just by circumstance. None of what we had was ever real. It was just that we were born on the same day. We're just strangers. We were different from the start, as we see Kamba exiting the light and leaving into the dark. Yeah, just, like, strangers is such a specific word here, just like the complete opposite of family, you know? Shauma, you can count on me to save Himari, just sit back and watch. And yeah, we kind of lose Kamba for a moment, but then the next time we see him, the next time we catch up with him, he's, like, literally doing a terrorism. Him walking into the dark wasn't just for show. He's, like, going off the deep end. So we saw a truck pass there that had the Kiga Group logo on it. When it passed, we heard an explosion. That's the journalist's car, like the reporter guy. It's pretty clear to see what we've done here. I think the kind of blood going down his arm there is pretty specific too. It kind of feels like the blood going down Kamba's arm after the bandages and all that kind of stuff from a couple of episodes ago as well. Kind of the blood soaking into the watch here. Very much, I see the symbolism, I guess, right? I'm willing and able to attack and bloody the status quo, you know? And if that wasn't enough for you, we also have this Tabuki scene. So Tabuki, he said he ran away, but he's actually doubling down. He's finally tracked down where Kenzan apparently is, according to his intel. There is a shady figure tailing him this entire time. There's actually two shady figures, but we'll get into it. And yeah, so in the corner, we see, like, see, these are like bones, right? These are like literally the bones of his family. So, okay, this opens up a can of worms. How did they die? How did they die? Because they were on the run and they disappeared. and then I guess they just got killed and were dumped here, and nobody ever checked this abandoned building. It was kind of like a building that fell through the cracks, much like it needs its own like kind of building broiler. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all, but I guess that's what happened. Like, maybe this was where they were hiding out for a time, but that time has since passed. Again, this is kind of that idea of the curse as well, you know? Enter stage Yuri here, of course, as well, who sees that they're dead and says that it's quite ironic. Our revenge was over so very long ago, so let's put that behind us. I've realized one thing, up in my very lonely, cold mansion, all alone, it's that I miss you. Despite all the tragedy we've gone through, I still want to continue this thing that we had, you know? It isn't a relationship of convenience, much like the Takakura's. It may have been fake for a time, but it transitioned into something real. I actually like you, and I want to spend some time with you. That would be nice, I think. Which again makes the tragedy of what actually happens. It's so cold and cynical what happens, right? It's like comical and like, wouldn't it just been nice if they got together or something? But no, like that random kind of acted fucking dude, chick, I don't know, just comes in and ruins everything. It's so callous. Jesus. Like, it really impacts me, man. I don't like it. I liked those freaks. I wanted them to stay alive. I guess there is significance in kind of Tabuki having his own kind of Momoko moment, jumping in the way, sacrificing himself in saving another. Like, there's a depth to that. Like, he saved her from her own broiler, I guess, right? Stopped her from falling through the cracks. Let's fix her up, you know? So upon that conversation with kind of Kamba and what Kamba did, Shoma now goes back to the house and basically says that we should stop playing pretend and stop being a family. We're done playing house. Look at the lighting too. Love the lighting here. Yeah, like we're playing with the Mika house, right? Let's stop playing with the dolls. Let's go and actually live our lives, you know? Let's be serious. You should go off and be with your uncle. Himari pleads with him. I'm not unhappy. You may think that I'm unhappy in this situation, that we're forcing this, but Himari likes the place that she is. Despite that, again, all this is for Himari, and you're like not listening to her here in this moment when she says that she's happy with what's going on. Again, like that's the level of despair that you've kind of fallen to, I guess. Again, losing the forest for the trees. All this was meant to be for her, and now we're not listening. The penguins are very fun to watch here as well. Kind of Shoma's penguin splitting off the food and giving half to Himari's penguin. The kind of playground equipment here as well, again reflecting each of the siblings as I've kind of gone on about. And yeah, that kind of food idea coming full circle here with the penguins here, Himari's penguin leaving, along with Himari leaving that plate of food that was left for her all alone. I think there's something to her elaborate getup as well. There's been kind of this relationship with like temperature and the family. Like, it's cold and frozen when I'm out on my own, right? Kind of turns us into like glass or like ice shards when we go through the child broiler. Obviously the penguin stuff and the Antarctica stuff too. Like, it becomes so much colder for you when you're not with the family. You need to put on all this clothes, right? Obviously the scarf coming into this as well. That first piece of warmth that I got from you way back in the day. Now it's being kind of returned. Like, again, even though you still need it, you're still giving it back. Like, there's so much going on here. It's insane. It'd be interesting to see where Shoma comes into the climax of this thing, right? He's still obviously got a part to play, even though he kind of takes the backseat these kind of next episode, right? So, like, I wonder how that'll manifest, right? It'll be interesting. Probably Ringo will pick him up and take him to where he needs to go. There's obviously the other element to this as well, which is the soulmate element. There's a romantic love between these two characters too that may be one-sided, may not be one-sided. It's yet to be seen, but Himari has to go away from the one that's fated to her. Like, this does not feel right. It can't be the correct answer, you know? But either way, Shoma's decision here is being colored by this interaction at the hospital, right, with Sanetoshi, whereby he was told that the medicine stopped working. Medicine loses its potency if you keep using it. That's not how medicine works at all. It's almost like you're manipulating this to your own selfish ends. Sanetoshi, it's almost like you're some kind of evil, malevolent presence that we don't like. So again, the sending of her away now, it's almost like I can't bear to watch her die, even after everything, right? So go off, be with the uncle, and I'm resigning you off to death as you walk away. Again, much like the kind of ramen restaurant from early in the show, we now get kind of the opposite view to the view we've had before. Like, only one set of toothbrushes, right? Like, there's only one person in the house left. That hot pot that's always kind of going that she's been cooking with, it's no longer in use. Only one set of clothes. Everything's all dark. It's not very lived in. This kettle, which I think we're associating with Kamba, not being used. And yeah, off she goes into Silent Hill. Very, very cool. Okay, then we get into the Kiga group stuff. So Himari then goes and seeks out Kamba, still wanting ultimately to save him from whatever he's doing, because again, she saw what was in the ramen restaurant. So like, she knows that it's bad news with Kamba and we want to convince him to stop doing what he's doing. Again, now she also knows that he's taking shady money and all that other kind of stuff from the reporter guy, who kind of broke the news and kind of made everybody fall out with each other and all that kind of stuff. We also see all the boxes here, the boxes that we saw previously at that kind of like place where Kenzan was working. It's kind of like that same concept, and I think we imply next episode that we're taking a bunch of toys that are going to have explosives or something in them, and we're going to deliver them, and it's going to be a mass thing. So yeah, that's why the boxes, I guess. So as Kamba turns around to say that I'll definitely save you to Himari, Himari's thinking the same thing. I have to stop Kamba. I have to save Kamba, right? And yeah, she's willing and able to sacrifice her life in the process of doing so. Yeah, these bears too, right? Like, we only have the black ones, which were associated with the male parent from memory. Because she comes out of the kind of womb of the white bear, right? Again, that's still my broad theory about the bears, but that's still yet to be seen. There's still water to go under the bridge there. There was a post-credit scene that we shall look up now, which is kind of Kamba being accepted into the family in the wake of his father's death, kind of really focusing on Shauma and Kamba here very early. You guys will be real brothers in no time. So it's almost like Kamba is forsaking his parents' wishes when he kind of separates from Shauma in this episode as well, which is a fun lens to see it through. Kamba also remembers some of the words of his late father, who was basically disappointed in him and his death and everything that happened. So again, maybe those words are being misinterpreted, or the father's just kind of a bad guy. I don't know. Either way, as Kamba kind of gazes up at the ash from the smoke burning from what I'm imagining is the cremation or something, we have kind of a tear falling down the cheek, and then Himari putting a band-aid on his cheek to try to like cover it up almost. And yeah, the colors, very obviously, we kind of go from here where they're all very muted to here, and they kind of turn it on, looking very cute. Here, Himari as well. Yeah, she brought color to my world in so many words, right? This is Himari's importance to me. We've kind of seen the importance between Himari and Shauma. This is why I want to do this. At my darkest moment, she saved me. It's almost like when Shauma saved Himari, Himari then like passed that on to somebody else, right? That feeling of saving somebody, right? So without Shauma doing what he did, Kamba wouldn't have been as infatuated as he was, right? Yeah, that's very interesting. Very, very cool. It may speak to an overall philosophical thing with the show, right? Instead of trying to go for these large-scale terrorisms, we should just try to be nicer to one another, because kindness begets more kindness. Like, I think that's kind of what we're trying to get at. But in the next episode, we have something pretty interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. We have Double H in disguises, being very suspect, going over to Himari's house and trying to give her a gift, which is kind of like a CD of their music, right? An exclusive early on, just to kind of show the appreciation for these scarves being given out. Again, like what I was talking about just then as well, Himari kind of taking this scarf and this warmth that she had from very early in the show, and then again spreading that out to as many people as possible throughout the rest of it, right? Think about all the knitting that she does, right? That is predicated on the scarf that was given to her way back in the day. Like, this interaction, as good as it will be for Himari in time, would not have happened if she wasn't constantly thinking about other people and trying to make things better. And again, we're parking this for now because this hasn't had any payoff yet, but it clearly will. There will be a moment where Himari will receive this gift, and it'll be quite emotional, I'm guessing, right? We also play a little bit of comedy here with Ringo fighting them and being suspicious about who the hell they even are and that they're being creeps and all that other kind of stuff. It works on Ringo's level as well because she's very protective of the Takakuras here and now. Again, for Ringo's perspective, they're like the only real family that she has left. We saw the scene at kind of after Tabuki did what he did, right? On top of the building. Like embracing them, like you're part of the team, like that kind of thing, right? Like another disparate member kind of included in this weird ramshackle family. Like, that's what you feel like. So again, you're going to feel protective for them. Yeah, sucks to be Ringo. I didn't really think about it from her perspective, but these people that she really liked have now separated. She has nobody now, yet again. There's some really fun stuff with the synchronization there on the animation too, which I just think's very cute. I like it. Seems that Ringo's a bit of a Double H fan as well. She's noticeably starstruck, so that's pretty cool. Again, you guys are pretty big. You guys are like on the subway, so that's like a lot of people are going to see you, a lot of people are going to know who you are. Oh, even a little flower on the single too. So again, it's Ringo's job to give this gift to Himari in time, again as a thank you for what Himari did for them. It's also soft confirmed here that there's kind of a time skip. Shauma and Ringo both don't know where Himari is right now. She was meant to arrive at the uncle's place, but she disappeared, right? So again, she went to see Kamba. We also have Shauma now kicking himself for what he said. He was in one of his like little episodes, basically. He kind of regrets the words that he used, I guess, that we aren't family and that you should do this and that, and he feels somewhat responsible for Himari going missing now. Again, thinks that this wouldn't have happened if I didn't say anything and tried to force anything, right? Kind of this scarf draped over this kind of facsimile of Himari, right? The kind of plush left in her place, you know? Like, it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't hit the same, you know? We then check in with Kamba, and he's gone full supervillain, which is cool. Again, we're making the teddies, and we're making sure that 50 are in each ring or something. Again, I'm guessing we're going to get more payoff to the plan here, kind of during the climax, which is clearly what we're setting up. But yeah, put the teddies in the boxes and drop the boxes off places, and then they'll probably explode or something. Seems pretty legit. The use of the spotlight here is quite pointed, along with him kind of sitting in the shadow, no light allowed, all that other kind of stuff. He's like sitting in the shadow of Kiga group as a concept. Like, it's casting its curse onto him almost in kind of the framing. I like that a lot. There's a flashback here now, and Kamba is getting some information from Sanetoshi that the medicine has stopped working, which essentially means that, hey, like, stop doing what you're doing now, we're ramping shit up. This is like trademark manipulation from Sanetoshi, right? Like, hey, she's gonna die unless you do this. It's like pushing that one step further, right? It's almost like cult leader stuff too. Like, you get them just comfortable enough here, and then you push it a little bit further, and then comfortable, and then you push it a little bit further. I feel like that's kind of the concept we're getting at as well. I also feel like Kamba's reaction here is very similar to the early episodes, and his kind of reaction at the doctor after finding that Himari is going to die, right? Like, it's very fun how the show's kind of coming full circle on that kind of stuff. In a lot of ways, he hasn't changed from the very start of the show, you know? Again, contrast points between him and Shauma. His decision is to strangle Sanetoshi. That's where he ends on this, right? As opposed to Shauma, who's just like head in hands, what am I going to do about this, that kind of thing. Where again, you're instantly violent. Yeah, it's just funny how the boys are very different from each other. This is when Sanetoshi reveals himself to be a supernatural presence, right? You can't kill me. You can't kill a ghost. I'm also a curse, so a curse can't be killed either. A curse can be broken, right? But you can't, like, murder me with violence. That's not how these kind of things work. There's still one way to save your sister. Just abide by our curse like a good boy. Again, almost playing daddy here. We don't like that. We don't like that at all. Out of the flashback and a little emotional scene here between kind of Himari and Kamba, right? Embracing him, telling him that, just let me do this. I love you. It's all going to be okay. All that other kind of stuff. All these kind of platitudes. Again, Kamba almost buys it for a second, but like almost sees the futility in it as well. Like, he doesn't like it as much as he should. He's instead continually focused on his work instead, right? Again, much like I was saying, missing the forest for the trees. I'm so engrossed in doing XYZ to this organization, right, in the efforts of potentially saving you, rather than spending time with you and loving you and giving you attention in the here and now. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Turn around and give her something. Don't give her nothing. This could still be her last days. And all your attention's on the computer, on the plan. But again, that's like the curse too, you know? And the show always comes through with the comedy that kind of gets across that same point, right? We have Himari's penguin here, showing him some risque pitches, or showing Kanba's penguin some risque pitches, I should say. He's not interested. He's not the same person he used to be. He's fundamentally changed on a subconscious level, right? From this curse. I'm going to focus more on the books and the plan and the here and now rather than the thing that I've been associated with the rest of the show. Again, it's kind of a bad read that, like, we're associating Kanba's love for Himari with, like, pin-up models in a magazine, but that's kind of what has been coded as in the show. Like, again, missing this, the thing that I love the most, the thing that I lived for, right? For this now. Kanba tries to connect here for but a moment. I forgot this scene. He says, "Do you remember what you gave me on the day that we became a family?" Now, the thing that I've seen that that she gave him was a band-aid on the face. Like, I'm going to be your band-aid type idea? Is that what we're trying to get at? Because Himari doesn't seem to remember it or think it's very significant. So it could be the Band-Aid or it could be something else. There could still be a reveal there potentially. But the Band-Aid read is still pretty strong. Like, hey, I'm going to... Like, it reminds him of the whole medicine conceit. Like, he doesn't... Like, it losing its potency and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, something like that. Himari here being very overt. I don't mind if I die. Just don't do bad things, Kanba. Don't do things that I would disapprove of, that Shoma would disapprove of. I'm kind of resigned to my fate. But again, he still can't let go, you know? Again, this kind of the star globe thing here, right? Kind of ringing there, that kind of symbol of Sanetoshi, that curse, right? Like, no, I won't forgive this world if you do die. So I don't want to live in a world where you're not here, because that would mean it's an unjust world. And resigns himself to kind of burning the world to ash regardless, casting her aside, pushing her away, and instead walking off on his own. Himari, you are the world to me, as I also burn this kind of symbol of Himari here as well. Yeah, very interesting. Himari, you are the world to me, but I also want to burn the world. And also that playing into our kind of temperature idea overall as well. Yo, quite a bit here, quite a bit here. Who designed these light fixtures too? They're insane. Again, I thought in the reaction something of an idea of a prison of his own design. Like this Kiga group is like trapping him inside or something. But again, there could be other reads. Could be like an arrow pointing in a direction maybe. Unsure. Either way, it turns into somewhat of a maze, kind of the boxes, the Kiga group boxes that have all these kind of teddy bears in them as well. Kind of losing him in that maze, losing all the color too in the process is pretty on the nose, but you kind of get what's going on there. Now, this freaked me out. Why did Himari then come out of that door? There was like very episode 9 type editing, very slow-mo, very kind of shiny in the air type stuff, and then she comes out at the aquarium. And then this shot, like, what does any of that mean? Yeah, weird. Like, how do the penguins impact this, is my point. Because again, clearly they tie into Kenzan and his trip to Antarctica, and Sanetoshi's trip as well. Maybe that talks to the idea of the penguins and what's going on there. There's also big picture stuff overall with these penguins and kind of the light-dark motif of the show, kind of moving away from the light into the dark and out of the dark into the light, and that kind of scale of where the characters fall on this kind of fake concept and the idea of the world in general and what it's like and if it's fair and just. So this is very cool too. Here we have Himari pleading with God to save Kanba, right? Willing to sacrifice herself to do this as well. Isn't this like the equal and opposite reaction to what Kanba wants to do for you, just on the other side, on the bright side, right? On the light side of the force. Like, what's the difference between a curse and a god? This kind of incorporeal, all-powerful thing, just on the other end of the equation. We've coded Momika so very much as God as well, so I wonder if that's going to play into it as well. And again, in the aquarium, in that kind of spark point for the rest of the show, right, where your kind of death snowballed into the rest of the show, right? Minus all the stuff that happened before it as well, but you know what I mean. Like, it's all just very pointed for something big to happen from here. And yeah, her eyes open up to a galaxy. And yeah, Himari is struck through the heart, again, lying there on the floor of the aquarium, passing away once again in that same position she was in episode 1. So my thing is, do we catch up with her again? We're at 10:05 now. Do we do anything with her again? I forget. I genuinely do. No, the rest of the episode is like Natsume Kamba stuff. So Himari's dead? For all intents and purposes? But she's also sacrificed herself to God, per se. What was the post-credit as well? Oh yeah, Shaw in the box, in the dog box. Odd. Yeah, this is where we leave Himari for the foreseeable future. She's like dying. Okay, that completely missed my mind. So you saw it there, we had kind of Yuri meeting with Ringo. Yuri dropping the news that Tabuki has passed away. He jumped in the way of a wild knifeman that was after me. There was a lover scorned. Yeah, takes that blade right to the heart and passes away. And yeah, this reveal is insane. I'm not sure I like it, but I don't dislike it either. I'm just confused thoroughly. Why this character? What are they trying to say? If you guys genuinely, I've got nothing. So if you guys have anything for me on that, please tell me. Wild Screen Baroque? Something? I don't know. Why? Again, if you guys have anything. I guess Tabuki isn't dead. He's in a hospital bed. So maybe he'll make a full recovery. You never know. I've just been assuming that he died. Weird. Anyway, it still sucks. And this dialogue's pretty good too. I'm going to read this one verbatim. I think it's very important. Yuri, I finally figured it out. I figured out why we were left behind in this world. You and I were already beyond help as children, but most children in the world are just like us. Beyond help. Invisible children, right? So just once was enough. We just needed the words, I love you from someone. So that's why we were left behind. Like, to be these characters to say I love you to each other. To be this kind of... to pair us up so we won't be, like, lost. And invisible in the wake of Momika's death. Again, this is like Tabuki on his deathbed, pretty much, looking for some kind of divine reason for all of this. And that's what he, like, kind of lands on. That we're in this world to love each other. Or at least to spread enough love that we don't feel the way we used to before. We may be fucked up, irreversibly fucked up, which is, again, we've talked about it in the show, like Yuri and Tabuki being pretty bad people based on their fucked up childhoods, right? We're beyond saving, but we can save each other for the time being, and we can spread enough love with our presence, potentially to the next generation, that things will be better in the future. It's ultimately hopeful, right? They impart this message off to Ringo, and she's going to impact the plot in the third act, you would imagine, in the kind of climax as we approach here. Again, she has this information within her that she's going to express to somebody else. We're in this world to love each other. So let's love each other, right? Let's not do... She's going to speak as Momika almost, kind of give off that same idea and come up against Kamba and what he believes, and Sanetoshi overall as well. Now, this will be weird. There's a lot of the episode left, half to be exact, and the rest of the episode is basically Natsume Kamba stuff. And I still don't know where I land on it. I don't know about Natsume's decision at the very end. I think it's kind of this, like, reciprocated sacrifice for what he did before. I'm going to now help him once more in turn. It's almost like I'm internally broken. I'm internally broken to be devoted to him no matter what. No matter if it's a bad idea and if it goes against all logical sense, I still have to do this for him. Again, we'll talk about it more when we get to the actual moment, but for all intents and purposes, there's not much left here to see besides visual stuff. So here, I really like this kind of barrier between them, again, separating them on this feeling, this kind of penguin standing in the way, this kind of representation of this Kiga group, of this plan, right? That's what stands between these two being a happy family. Kamba kind of doing his hiding in plain sight type thing, right? The police are after you. He has to move. He has to be all secret agent and suave and stuff. They have to meet like this in crowded places. If they were to, meet off to the side, the police could potentially strike. Okay, time for spooky bowling as well. So he gets his, phone app out, and he, pulls back and then rolls something, and it's like a bomb in the real world that then goes and takes out these undercover vehicles. So, a number of things. Why is it a phone app game? Why? Are we does Kamba still deep down think this is somewhat of a game that is there to be won for him, that you can potentially win if you play well enough, and it's not rigged and all this other kind of stuff? I think that's pretty pointed if that's what we're getting at. It's also very childish. This is a childish view of terrorism to frame it like a phone game, speaking to Kamba's potential lack of maturity and lack of perspective when it comes to this kind of stuff. In direct contrast to potentially the perspective that Yuri and Tabuki just demonstrated, right? This exact opposite perspective that only came with age. Either way, we see the bomb kind of go under the car here and just, explode it in, broad daylight. There's just, people around. He's a giga terrorist. He's gone crazy. Very, very, very effective sequence. I really do like it. Again, even the kind of scorecard in the top corner too. Very cool. This shot I shouted at in the moment as well. Again, just the long horizon demonstrating the distance between these two characters and their ideals. He continues to walk off to the left, and Natsume's left jogging behind, trying to save him, but he doesn't look back once. He doesn't give a hoot. He doesn't give a damn. It's also silhouetted, which could talk to the underlying shadow of it, the darkness behind it all, something like that. And again, it's also a crossroad. As we've talked about, he is making a decision to go a certain way. Again, continuously being given outs and continuing to march forward, Kamba has taken refuge inside this statue and the kind of server room inside it, and he's going to go, under the city and go through the fucking tunnels. This is where you should give up, man. Every bone in your body should be screaming to you to give up. Either way, the police have caught wind, and again, it looks like there's no way out. Natsume's framing here is very interesting too. She's straight up going for the, Sanatoshi is fooling you type idea. It's a curse, he's not real. Trying to appeal to that sense of logic for him, which I think is very interesting too. So, loving this frame as they go into the underground. So one, it's very clearly a descent from Kamba. He is going deeper and deeper down into hell. For what he's doing, right? It's clearly a bad decision. If you see a character spiraling and descending, it's probably not very good. The color's also fantastic. We have Kamba associated with the reds and Natsume with the greens, right? So the green is almost like this light to... it's almost like the greens are trying to pull up the reds as it stands right now. It's a microcosm of the actual things the characters are doing, right? Natsume is trying to pull up Kamba, but Kamba continues to descend regardless. Again, his shadow, the red shadow, reigns mostly supreme. The blues here being incorporated too, that Shauma color in the background. Again, if we continue to descend, it'll be all Kamba instead of any Shauma, Natsume finally gets to the truth of what she's trying to say, or at least the things she feels the most passionately about, right? Why are you doing all this for a stranger? Why are you doing this for Himari when your real little sister is right here? You may say Himari is your little sister, but I exist. I'm here. Why not me? And again, it's this whole kind of tragedy for Natsume, the kind of idea of not being chosen, What did I do that was so bad that you don't want anything to do with me anymore? Again, it's the same thing that he's doing now for Himari, missing the forest for the trees. Remember your whole idea of your sacrifice was to keep us safe? Well, now your actions even now are endangering me. I'm being brought into this because of what you're doing. You've missed the point. You're not saving anybody. You're going off on your own little selfish thing. If the basis of what you were talking about at the very beginning of your sacrifice here, right, and you going off and leaving us to do what we were doing, right, if that premise remains true, then you are not abiding by it. You're doing completely the wrong thing. Specifically here shouting at the fact that our father was used and tossed away. You were so very close with your father as well, as opposed to your grandfather. So again, I see the same thing happening to you here and now, Kamba. Like, don't do this. Here, very similar framing to Himari early in the episode, grabbing onto him, don't go, don't do this, all this other kind of stuff. Just very, similar characters at the end of everything, Natsume, levels with us. I've been fighting so very hard in the show so that I may not lose anybody again. Like I lost my father. I didn't want to lose Mario. I didn't want to lose you. That's why I've been doing this. If you go now, I'll lose you, and I will fail. Which again calls into focus Natsume's decision, which is basically like, let me use myself instead. That'll make it worth it. It's not correct, I don't think. But again, I think the show knows it's not correct as well, and we're almost playing this for this tragic end for Natsume's character. Even here in this final moment, she's still grasping out for some connection. Call me your little sister. If you do that, I wouldn't mind being cursed with you for all eternity. At least we'd still have that connection. It seemed for a moment maybe Kamba was going to relent, but no, the kind of police zero in once again, and he's right back into that mode. He went to call her Masako, which again, nobody else calls her that in the show, designates that special connection that they have. I think he was going to level with her, but no, we'll never get to see it. Instead, straight back into it, dropping another bomb down the hole. Kamba here says that the pests are now gone, right? Calling people pests. Where did we go so wrong with you, Kamba? For sure. I think Natsume here comes to the realization that he is too far gone. There's no saving him now. But even here at this final moment, the lights switch on, there were more cops there, they go to shoot out. He's still willing and able to save you. I guess that's what inspires you to save him again in turn. He still does care about me, and he demonstrated that in the only way that he could. So again, that gives me the push to be his alibi later on. Another very obvious motif here would be the falling glass, much like the child broiler. Again, embodying the spirit of Kiga Group, right? No child left behind. If I was to leave a child behind, then all this would be a failure. So again, putting his body on the line to live the creed of the group. And yeah, taking a gunshot wound in the process, as we hear in the audio there. Again, it's like Natsume's falling into the child broiler and he's saving her in the framing, right? Much like, again, Momoko saved multiple people in the show, and Shoma saved Himari, and all that other kind of stuff. It's just, it mirrors everything very well, I think. Again, ultimately, these characters kind of ethically oppose each other very little, right? They all agree with each other in turn that something needs to be changed. I think it's all just about methods. We then get a flashback. Essentially, again, I've already talked about it. We have kind of Natsume's father saying, hey, we should keep everybody together, but then Kamba making the choice to stay behind so that the other two can be set free and go back home and not be involved in this thing anymore. Again, that sacrifice that he made for them to live the life of luxury that they live now, right? Again, that frames all the extra extravagant stuff that we've seen with Mario and Natsume, right? The reason why they're able to do any of that is because of Kamba, Which again, when we see Natsume, because of that, falling into these trappings that come along with that and her grandfather's philosophy, it's like this weird kind of curse effect playing out over again, I think. Back in present time, we have Kamba looking worse for wear in a puddle of his own blood, and the troops are here to save the day, to pull him out and to help him. So yeah, now we have Natsume's choice. The rest of the gang around her basically say, if they find us, they will kill us, right? They're not going to, take us in. There's no kind of happy ending here. If you want Kamba to live, you have to do this. Again, we see her penguin put its flap on Kamba's back and just kind of embrace him. That number one. Again, he's always been that kind of older sibling to everybody, right? Natsume goes from there to apologize to Mario. Sorry I couldn't save you. Kamba's taken precedence. Again, she's going to stand on business here, save her father's old group, that group that she came to lament so very much, to save Kamba, that person that she lamented so very much. I must crush him, remember. Again, agreeing to be the bait to buy Kamba the time that he needs. This is the curse of the Natsume clan, the curse of my grandfather. The world only bears fruit for the greedy. I am the chosen, right? That's the reason why I must do this, I'm cursed almost from birth to do this for my brother, So I thought that my father, who had thrown everything away, thrown this curse away from my grandfather. I thought that he was a beautiful person in turn. He had everything, but he cast it aside on ethical grounds, basically. But beauty that can be seen must also come with a shadow. That place was a beautiful casket. I was a child who failed to notice. Kamba, you saved Mario and me from that shadow, from that casket. So again, now I'm going to reciprocate. You let me go into the world lit by sun. Again, bringing back this temperature thing. I love it. Very, very cool. Again, I won't let you die in this darkness. I will save you from this casket the only way I know how. Through some self-sacrifice, channeling her father in the process. And again, playing that catchphrase, gosh, I must crush them soon. And again, them could be a lot of people here in this regard. You've even got your little stupid fucking trading card photos or something. Weird. And then again, the episode kind of ends and we hear gunshots and, I don't know, Natsume's maybe dead. And again, we're just going to wrap up the video now because fucking Kamba's in a fucking dog cage that has like Pingu Group on it. So like, don't know. From there, we're just going to wrap it up, I think. I don't know if I made any sense that entire session, but I like it a lot. So, I don't know. Sure. I'm sure some of that made sense. A little bits. Finale coming up. I have no clue what's going to happen. Probably Momoko. We got to do something with Momoko, I think. Ringo's going to be involved. Himari's going to be involved. We're probably going to play with that Momoko design for Himari one more time with the penguin headdress and all that other kind of stuff. Himari's dead for all intents and purposes right now, which is weird too. And yeah, Shauma's obviously going to come in and save the day somewhat as well. We're going to thwart Sanetoshi. How? Why? Where we're going to land on the show? What is the show going to mean overall? Again, all these questions and more will be answered next week. If you're watching this publicly, Patreon is there. You can watch that now if you'd like. $6 a month, of course. Discord if you want to talk to me anything about the show. I love to talk me some Penguindrum, of course. So, open and ready. But like the video, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. See you later. Goodbye. Ciao. All those other things.